Ahtopol, the second village on the Bulgarian Black Sea coast after Lozanets I'm visiting this summer. And I'm on an amazing place with a great view, the Old Greek School. I'll tell you a bit more about it later, but from the tiny terrace on the roof of it, you can have an astonishing view over the peninsula with the entire village. Unlike the village of Lozanets you saw in my previous video, Ahtopol is significantly larger, but more importantly, it's incomparably older. If Lozanets was founded around the beginning of the 20th century, the first information about the settlement of Ahtopol is from the second millennia before Christ, while the first proofs of a settled life in the region are from 5,000 years before Christ. Founded by the Thracians, around 430 before Christ came some colonists from ancient Athens, and the back then town received the status of a polis with the sanction to coin its own money. Somewhere in the middle of the 1st century before Christ, it has been conquered by the legions of ancient Rome and turned into a fortified settlement with a port. Later, in 168 AD, in the times of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius, fortress had been built around the town. It is supposed that the town became part of the ancient Bulgarian state around 705 after several battles with the Byzantine Empire, but being at the border between two states, Ahtopol changed many times its rulers. In the Middle Ages, the fortifications have been reinforced and several towers were built until 1632, when a tremendous earthquake ruined the entire town and the walls crumbled in pieces regardless of their thickness. They were so badly damaged that they were never rebuilt. And here is a small portion of those walls. You can see how the layers of the stones with which the walls were built has crumbled and stays diagonally. The wall was 14 meters high and the thickness was more than 3 meters. Later, in the beginning of the 20th century, a fire broke and the entire village were ravaged by the flames. There are very few buildings that survived the fire. One of them is this wooden house right behind me, which keeps the old look of the houses before the tragedy. You can find even the old lock on the door. The next one is this tiny one nave, one apse church built in 1796. An interesting detail is that the frescoes preserved in the apse are painted back then, not in the typical Byzantine Orthodox style. It is an active one and is open for visits. It's a little bit windy today, which is not normal for the summer on the Black Sea coast. Normally it's hot and sunny, but sometimes the weather changes, and when it does, it changes dramatically. And now I'm heading towards a small square where once had been situated the main church of the old town of Ahtopol. Unfortunately, it burned in the fire a century ago, and all that remained from it is one of the bells you can see here. They say that archaeologists have found somewhere here also the emplacement of the old basin with a spring of supposedly holy waters, but archaeological excavations need to be done in the future. Anyway, through these stairs you can access the today's church, built several decades ago next to the main square of Ahtopol. And from the square you can access the pier and the fishing port. As all the villages on the Black Sea coast, that too are fishermen, which keeps the tradition and goes on the sea quite every single day. And at the end of the port there is some exhibition of all kinds of anchors found in the sea near Ahtopol, the older one being a Roman anchor dated between the 1st and 6th century. Do you remember what I told you about the weather here? It changes drastically for short periods of time. Yesterday we had thick clouds and I had to stop my recording because of heavy rain, thunderstorm and lightnings, while today we have here a bright sunny day. And now I would like to show you, right behind me, the old Greek school I mentioned in the beginning. The name derives from the fact that it was built from 1896 to 1908 by the successors of the Greek community that lives here for centuries. Designed for school activities, theatrical performances and municipal meetings, it is built with bricks brought and transported from the French city of Marseille. The building gave also shelter to the villagers who lost their houses in the Great Fire, while nowadays it is a creative home of the Bulgarian National Academy of Arts, where students come for summer art retreats. You can find different wooden carved sculptures all around the yard. There is also a small museum section where are gathered some archaeological relics found in this area. Of course, today's Ahtopol is much more than just history. As the other villages on the Bulgarian part of the Black Sea coast, it's a resort where you can have a beautiful holiday. There are some bigger hotels as smaller and quieter ones that gives you a nice comfort with everything you need for your vacation. All around there are nice restaurants and cafes with great views where you can have a delicious meals. On the main street of the village you can find also many shops, garments, groceries and of course many souvenirs, but one of them got my attention. Here in front of this house with dolphins, you can find for a decent price some amazing enormous seashells from different places of the world. Besides that, the owners will kindly give you a precise information about every single one of them. And of course, the beaches. You can find wilder ones between the rocky forelands with beautiful sightseeing, though there are plenty of crazy beautiful seascapes as the rocks around the lighthouse near the port. You can spot these great views all around while taking a walk on the coastal Alley of Lovers where I am now. The name comes from the legend that tells the love story between Dolphin, the son of the Greek god Poseidon, and Agatha, one of the daughters of Zeus. Their love was great, but for some reason Zeus didn't approve it and got angry. At this point, Poseidon decided to hide them, giving a place for the lovers to live undisturbed, and that's how was created, according to this legend, Ahtopol, one of the older names of Ahtopol. That's why, even on the coat of arms of Ahtopol, there is an inscription, City of Love. So here on the pier is where the Alley of Lovers ends. And if you come here in Ahtopol, don't miss the opportunity to enjoy the village and the Alley of Lovers.